What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today we're going to talk about it. Washington wins. They beat the Arizona Cardinals 20-16 in a game that they almost lose. And I'm gonna just start it off by saying this: for everybody who really believes in this team, y'all do know that that's not good enough, right? Like y'all do know that the performance that they showed today is not good enough, right? I mean, I want to make sure that I hammer that home as much as possible because, excuse me, they were losing this game at one point. Sam Howell had 2 turnovers. Again, we're not benching the guy after 2 turnovers. And it seemed like this team was going to lose their very first opener. The offensive line wasn't strong enough. I mean, they had moments where they seemed like they were very strong and everything like that. But at some point, Jonathan Gannon, who normally doesn't bring pressure, was bringing pressure and bringing a lot of pressure. There were a couple interceptions out there there were a couple balls that could have been like legitimate interceptions. I mean, you're talking about Sam Howell recorded 1 interception, but in reality, he would have probably more than likely had about 4 because there were 3 that the players just dropped or it just went through their hands and stuff like that because the ball was slippery and everything like that. But I mean, a win is a win, which is greatly appreciated. But you're talking about you struggle against the Arizona Cardinals, which is supposed to be one of the bad teams. Not only that, I told y'all, I remember saying this on this very show, saying at the end of the day, I said, y'all, don't sleep on the Cardinals because their defense was playing very well in the preseason. And it showed itself in the regular season. Then the defense started picking it up later in the game. It's the team picked it up in the second half. Almost like somebody said, hey, y'all do know that this is a regular season game. This isn't a 4th preseason game. And they were like, oh, you bullshitting. And then all of a sudden they woke up. Because that right there made no sense. It made no sense. Yeah, we won. I get it. But it's not the win that we want. It's not the win that we're looking for. It feels like the win that we are accustomed to. The win that's a win, but that could have been a loss and kind of feels like a loss. And if the reason it feels like a loss is because we didn't see Kansas City on the field. And that's not Eric Bieniemy's fault. I mean, Sam Howell is not Patrick Mahomes. We saw that on Thursday night. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is just the most amazing quarterback there is. And I know that there's all that talk about Aaron Rodgers. No, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, hands down. Sam Howell is not that. And we saw some of the stuff in this very game, which is why him sitting last season made all the sense in the world. Because I know, just like even Ron fell into the trap and started saying, well, I probably should have sat up there and started Sam Howell earlier. No, the issues he was having in this game is exactly the issues he was having back then, but it was just worse. He held on to the ball and nearly got himself destroyed out there when he should have just threw the ball away. Then he's making illegitimate passes and he's staring down receivers. That's how so many of those safeties and linebackers was able to get their hands on the ball, because they just watched Sam Howell stare down receivers. He was late on passes and stuff like that. Like, understand, this is why I was telling everybody, preseason speed is not actual game speed. We got to see what happens when the game speed picks up. And it picked up very quickly. But again, like I said, we did win. We didn't even hear Jonathan Allen's name until the second half. I mean, that was crazy. So I mean, we got out with a win. We won the game. That's what matters the most, is that we won the game. It's just that as we keep marching on through the season, we won't be winning games like that. We can't turn it on in the second half and expect to beat a Philadelphia Eagles. We can't turn it on in the second half and expect to beat a possible Atlanta Falcons, because understand, I told y'all, Desmond Ridder kind of struggled a little bit in the game today. And if Taylor is starting by the time our game comes around, we're losing that game. And I know that a lot of y'all may be like, oh, again, the offense that Arthur Smith runs is perfect for Taylor. Perfect for him. We can't keep doing this, y'all. This can't be the same thing over and over again. Don't get me wrong. Now, we did see more downfield passing and stuff like that. Here's another thing. We don't need to use every running back. The whole point of having a starting running back is that when he needs a breather, then somebody else comes in. We don't need to use all three running backs. Not only that, Antonio Gibson fumbled the ball. Brian Robinson nearly fumbled the ball. These guys got to find ways to hold on to the ball. They really have to find ways to hold on to the ball. Logan Thomas looked like he couldn't catch a cold if he tried to. These are things that annoy some people in the fan base, because we want this team to be good. We want this team to be great. Montez Sweat showed exactly what he wanted to show. Montez Sweat is not playing this year. He's an unrestricted free agent this year. Chase Young is an unrestricted free agent this year. Cam Curl is an unrestricted free agent this year. We're going to have to figure something out with these guys. But again, like I said, I'm sounding like we didn't win. We did, in fact, win this game. We did, in fact, beat the Arizona Cardinals. We did, in fact, actually come back in the second half and win the game. Sam Howell did not look that bad, but he also doesn't look very comfortable either. We did see the fact that offensive line isn't the best offensive line. Not only that, you're talking about Sam Howell was sacked 6 times. 6 times. And one of those sacks came with a scoop and score. 6 times. That's not. We can't do that against any other front. We can't do that. We see the Rams. Aaron Donald's pretty good by himself. I would hate for Aaron Donald to wreck us, and especially when the Rams aren't supposed. They're not supposed to be good either. This is going to be one of the toughest situations we go through this year. Like, this is going to be tough. Unless they find a way to fix this, turn it around. Like I said, Sam, he doesn't throw when he has no anticipation when it comes to throwing the ball. Like, he does not throw with anticipation at all. He waits for that. He waits for the wide receiver to get open. And there's been, don't get me wrong, there were points where he put the ball where it needed to be and the receiver dropped it. Logan Thomas dropped at least about 4 or 5 balls. Like, he was dropping. He was dropping passes today. And like I said again, it's coming off as though we didn't win. We did win, but it doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like a real victory. Don't get me wrong. And for a lot of us, a lot of this is going to be shrouded in the fact that Dan Snyder's no longer here. And everybody was celebrating that. To all the fans that I was supposed to be meeting today, I actually had a personal situation that went on, so I could not make the game. So I had to give up my tickets. But I wish I could have been there for the first game. But understand, I would have also been very mad at the game too. Because again, turning it on in the second half, that's not good enough. That's just not good enough. And like I said, I'm not going to fully blame Eric Bieniemy on this. It's just that you got to understand, he has to now get comfortable and getting used to not calling plays that's not for Patrick Mahomes. That's not for the talent that's on Kansas City. He needs time to get used to that. He needs time to get used to the fact that Sam Howell is not Patrick Mahomes. He needs Patrick Mahomes. He has to get used to that. He has to get used to the fact that the line that was in Kansas City is not the line that's here. He has to get used to that. He has to get used to the fact that some of those speedy receivers and Travis Kelce is not here. He has to get used to that. And then on top of that, let's go to the defensive side. Remember in my coach's evaluation, I told you Jack has to show us wrinkles in this defense to show that this defense is now getting better. One thing he did do was that we finally saw Cam Curl not in that Buffalo nickel, which, as you saw, was very important when it came to passes coming across that middle. He was there to break a lot of stuff up, and that is what we need Cam to do. We need him back there to be a threat as well. And that's what he did. But again, Jack has something new. He started dialing up the blitzes, but at that point it was crazy. It was late. I mean, understand this. We almost lost the game to Charlie Villanueva. Now, pause. For all of you who are not basketball fans and you happen to be near a basketball fan and they just bust out laughing when I said that, look up Charlie Villanueva and trust and believe, you would think that when you saw Charlie Villanueva, he was the one, in fact, quarterbacking the Arizona Cardinals today. Josh Dobbs and Charlie Villanueva look damn near exactly like each other. And I'm telling you, there was so many times I'm looking at the game like, that has to be Charlie Villanueva's son or something. It's something. Because he looked too much like him. But like I said, look it up, Charlie Villanueva. But trust me, all the basketball fans that just heard that reference, they bust out laughing. But again, Arizona didn't look that bad. And I told people, I was saying this on another stream somewhere else, on another channel, that I think people are underestimating Arizona. And I think I said it on here too. Arizona, Kyler Murray will eventually be back. He will eventually be back. And from what we saw today, I don't think they want to be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. I don't think they care about Caleb Williams or Shedeur Sanders or Michael Penix Jr. or Drake May. They're playing like, oh no, we're trying to make sure our coach has a job next year. So, like I said, y'all, we did win. We did win the game. But it just doesn't feel like a win because we haven't seen what we thought we were going to see. Not only that, they didn't pour it on until late. We almost lost this game. Like, imagine if Arizona had just a little bit more talent on that team. Just a little bit more talent. Imagine if Arizona had the team from last year. They could have possibly beat us. Again, like I said, I'm glad we got out of there with a win. Hopefully next week they make all the changes they need to make, because Denver, so far I saw that Russell Wilson threw a touchdown already in the game. He doesn't look bad in the game. He actually looks very smooth in the game. So again, like I said again, we cannot play around. Playing the way they played today is not good enough for this season at all. And hell, maybe they want to get Ron fired. Maybe that's the case too. I mean, it could be. I mean, as a personal, as in myself, I actually want Ron to get fired. I don't want him to be here because he's not really a good coach. He's really not. And he doesn't do a good job with getting his staff on board. And he's so focused on nepotism and so focused on friendships that it's not the understanding that, okay, we need to move in a different direction, and this is why. But again, like I said, I'm not mad at Eric Bieniemy because it's going to take him some time to adapt to the guys that are here and understand that he's not coaching the guys that's in Kansas City anymore. Orlando Brown ain't on this line. He's just not. You know, like they got some players over there in Kansas City. The guys that's on the line in Kansas City, even with everybody making the jokes about Jawan Taylor, he's still better than what we got over here. So, like I said, again, we did win. It was a victory. Doesn't feel like a victory, but it was a victory. Another thing, Brian Robinson has to get his mouthpiece in his damn mouth, especially when it's on passing plays. That is a tell. And I could tell that somebody must have said something to him about his mouthpiece not being in his mouth, because that is a tell. If he doesn't have his mouthpiece in his mouth, it's a passing play. And he needs to keep his mouthpiece in his mouth at all times. So people don't pick up on those tails. So y'all tell me what y'all think. How did y'all feel about this upcoming game? About this game? Do y'all feel that how we play is good enough to actually have a successful season, or do you feel that there are things that they need to do to make sure that they don't lose more games, especially with against teams that have better talent? Y'all tell me what y'all think. How did y'all feel about Sam Howell's performance? Six sacks. Some of them was on him because he held the ball. Got himself basically destroyed on the sidelines from holding the ball. You know, had a key fumble, had a big fumble, and threw a pick. You know, so even though it was a tip, still, he should have had more. He should have had more, because there were 3 balls that I could tell you for certain that was dropped that would have been picks. So y'all tell me what y'all think. How y'all feeling? Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune. Like, comment, and subscribe. This has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.